Hi YouTube, this is MOP Talks with Trev. I'm Trev, and this is Modern Organic Philosophy. Today I'm going to be talking about the number 4 and the Quadrivium. You don't have to be a genius to get into philosophy because it's the essential knowledge of humanity that's super obvious, and we just weren't taught it, you know. Economically, it's not gonna make a shitload of money, you know. It's not gonna it's not gonna give us a great deal of economic support. Nothing. But if we don't know this shit, we're not gonna survive. So we're getting into it, man. This is what I saw needed to be done, and I'm just gonna do it. The quadrivium is number, starting off with number as the first subject of the quadrivium. Number in space is geometry, seeing where the number is in the world. And the number in music is going to be number in time. We can count and see where it's at. And you put that together and it's cosmology, which is astronomy in a way. And the reason why you need to know this is because you all of a sudden won't need all this unneeded you won't need all this unneeded subjects in school. We're fucking bullshit. We need to get down to the basics. And the basics are using what you have already innately in you to figure out where we're going. And the number 4 has to do with the 4 elements. You could imagine a pyramid coming down from 1 point to 4 points. And that is spirit or God. It's easier to say spirit because God has been so bastardized of a term. So we're going to say spirit, going down into the 4 elements. And we know for sure that air is the first element because air specifically is in all of the elements. And you can imagine fire is air is needed for it. Water air is needed for it. And earth is the accumulation of all of the elements put together. So you could imagine spirit, pyramid, imagine a pyramid going down 3 ways: air, fire, water, boom, into the 4 of earth, all put together. And that's a microcosm of what we are, as above, so below. Of course, the macrocosm is God, in a way, and each one of us is an individual microcosm of God. In the animal realm, we have the basic needs of the animal. We have simple consciousness. And Richard Morris Burke, he breaks down 3 versions of consciousness: the simple consciousness, the human consciousness, where one is now subconscious, aware of itself. We know that animals aren't. And if you want more on that, read the book. And then this next level of consciousness. And, these are all just ways of looking at the same thing, really. But the number 4, and man, these books are so great. They break down The first book is number, and it goes the monad, the number one, you know, God, the great spirit. That's one. Duality, of course, positive and negative. A trinity, three, threeness. And here we are at the quaternity, or four. And three and four, I mean, it's so deep. It's so deep. And they break down each number. Five, what is fiveness? You know, what is fiveness psychologically? This is what we're talking about here is psychology. All right. Astrology and astronomy, what good is it? You know, is it some magical thing? No. No. It's us taking what's innately inside of us, projecting it out, and letting it project back to us. We're leaving consciousness at the door. Everyone's talking about this, but I'm gonna do my, I'm coming from a lowbrow perspective at the, and I'm getting there. So you're gonna be able to see me grow myself. I was an athlete. I'm a jock, basically. I'm always been a bit of a savage. So if I can learn this shit, then anyone can. So to continue on here, once we have our number and we want to know where it is in space, we calculate it as such to say, okay, we have our dot. So where is it? Boom. We need to find other angles that are objective to see where that number lies, to see where it lies. And this is whenever people are doing architecture and art, they all do this innately, but we're going from a psychological perspective. We're doing it backwards because what we're interested here in is personal enlightenment. Straight up, because you can't rely on other people. They can't walk the path for you. And it's super fun, man. And of course, now we want to see number in time. So we need to understand harmony. We're counting time. We're counting time to see where the number is in time, because time and space, of course, are, that's where we're at in our three-dimensional world. And the thing that we're missing is the individual. What good is time and space? The number is you. Where are you in space? Boom. Coordinates in. Where are you in time? Let's count it. How are we going to put it all together? How are we going to put it all together? They track, in this book it shows you how they can figure out where astral bodies are based on its movement. What is the movement? Boom, boom. And once they track it over a long time, they see what shape it makes. It always makes geometrical shapes. Are we in some kind of matrix? Yeah, it's a matrix, a matriarch, the goddess mother. That's what it is. We're trying to figure out where the fucking dot is. And you can see they figured out where the dot is by doing all this stuff. All these intense mathematical things. And, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's all already been done. The Western world has figured out all this stuff. And you could say, well, the Western world's caused all these wars and everything. But they figured out a lot of stuff. The reason why Islam had all the numbers, the numbering situations, because they stole it from other people. They stole it from Chinese, and they stole it from the Greeks. The Greeks and the Romans stole it from the Celtic peoples. And, it really doesn't matter. We just got the knowledge, and we need to learn it. It doesn't matter what race or anything you are. And America's ahead of the curve. because we take the individuals into a chord. So we have the quadrivium. You start off with number, that's the first thing. And what that is seeing what is oneness psychologically and in the physical world. You're going to need to know both. What is two? What is two? What is duality? What is trinity? What is three? And if you look behind me, the Celts, they're big on the three. They're huge on the three. The three is everything. And that's part of the Western world, man. It's the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, right? It's the individual in time and space, three. In a 2D thing, you could only go back and forward. But, we can go back, forward, side to side. Boom, 3 dimensions. And, then the music, we're counting rhythm, we're getting the rhythm down. And that's, once we get to the number 7, that's going to be super interesting too, because you have 7 whole colors. It starts from the 3 original colors, but then there's also lesser colors, and there's 7. Just like the chakra system, there's also 7 notes in music. So we're figuring we gotta cover the basics, all right? And so once they get to the 4th quadrivium subject, which is cosmology, you've found out where that number or that individual is in time and space. And the cool thing is when they plot the planets, they notice that these planets make geometrical shapes in their movement based on where we are looking at it. And so maybe that's how astrology is correct, because it's correct over and over again and we don't know why. That's why it's magic, right? Magic is often a technology that we don't understand yet. We just know that it works. So, but maybe that's how astrology works. Look at Venus, man. Venus makes this shape. And look at that shape. Look at that shape. That's significant to us. That is the same movement as a flower. That's the Fibonacci sequence, bro. And if you haven't read up on this stuff yet, you're not even watching this channel. So I'm going to assume that you know the Fibonacci sequence and you know how the pyramid is based on that. They're charting. So maybe that's how astrology works, is that since Venus is giving us this frequency, that's the energy that we're getting to it. And this thing, okay, so this is Venus, and it's associated with this shape because it makes that shape in the sky. So that means that there's a color and a note that goes with it. And when you do the alchemy, when you study alchemy, you understand that if you're feeling a certain way and you need to feel better about it, you want to listen to this note and look at this color. Okay? If you need a little bit more anger to overcome something, maybe you need to listen to some hard rock, some hard metal to fucking get you going. Maybe if you need to relax, you need to listen to Bob Marley and just chill. And that's using your tools. You listen to Bob Marley and all of a sudden you just feel more relaxed, and now you can sit back and process the information. Because remember what we said with the number 3 and the trivium is the 3 trivium arts, as far as logic, rhetoric, and whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? You have to take the input, process it, and then put the output into play, which is your rhetoric. The logic is the processing. So, maybe you need to listen to Mozart to process all this fucking information, man. So So that's where we're at, you know. And it's not, logic isn't the end all be all, because it might not be logical how you come up with stuff. These great inventors say in a flash they got the information, just came into them and they just understood it. There's no logic to be done. But whenever we are working on something for years and years, let's run it through the logical filter and try to figure out something, and we can allow ourselves to leave room for magic. We have to allow ourselves to leave room for magic. It's not going to be 100% logical, or you turn into a robot. That's over masculinization. Over femininization would be how the Europeans are just letting any nut job gang member into their thing because you don't want to offend them, and even though they hurt you, you still want to be nice. That's over feminization. So how can we be an individual and take our feminine information and our masculine information and have some kind of, because the feminine side is going to be where all the magic and creativity is, in a way. And that doesn't mean that men have it too. We're just talking about the yin and the yang. We're talking about the yang of which is the masculine of getting shit done, doing practical work, and the woman side of, let's look at it from another perspective. Let's not be mean and nasty. Men can be mean and nasty, and of course women can be too, but that's the yang in them. So we're trying to figure that shit out. And I'd like to say that these first videos, I was very much influenced by Jan Irwin of Gnostic Media. I don't really know what the fuck he's talking about now. He's lost his goddamn mind. But I'll tell you, he comes across some good shit every once in a while. And the Trivium, the classic liberal arts are great, and that's a good thing. Now he's on to some other. The Freeman stuff is gonna get us in trouble, man. You're not gonna. The, the system. The system. I'm sorry. The system is what it is, and you're not gonna beat the system into submission. The system is part of our evolution, and we need some kind of government. Anarchy doesn't work. Okay, communism doesn't work. Uh, Tribal nationalism doesn't work. The Nazis tried it. How many people have tried it? We've come so far, and everyone wants to go backwards. So all I can do is study the bare essentials, and we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. And the next video, we'll talk about the number 5 and its significance. And we're gonna get through all the numbers, and at least then we have something to go by. Because what you have to understand is our number system and our lettering system is occult in nature. Reason being is that we are more than animals, and language is the essential thing that'll show you how we are. We're aware of ourselves, and now we're in this mental world talking about things, and before we do them, and just talking about our imagination and all this stuff. Animals don't do that. And at the end of the day, that's where we're at right now. Utopia is obviously never going to happen, because as soon as everyone's equal, one person's going to want a little bit more. But what I'm saying is maybe that helps drive man into greater things. Maybe that helps us in a way. You want to get the woman, or you want the family and the nice stuff, so you better work your ass off. All of a sudden, if you're giving it for free, you're not going to be working hard. Now, there is some people that have ridiculous amounts of money. They pay 25 grand for a piece of shit art, that just because they can afford it. What is that? See, those are the people, yeah. I mean, but you can't let your greed, because you want what they want, throw the baby out with the bathwater, because they've been working their ass off probably. And if they didn't get the money, it's none of your business how they have all this money. I don't have shit. I wish part of me does wish that, I was rich and stuff, but am I ever going to appreciate it if I don't earn it? Probably not. So you are where you are for a reason, and that's leaving room for magic. That's leaving room for this stuff. And women are just as greedy. Do they not all fuck the same dude so they can get the money? What happens in the animal kingdom? There's one lion and like nine women, and he has all the babies because they want to propagate the strongest genes of the alpha into the children of the tribe, and that's just where they are. And we're kind of there too. We're not too far ahead, and we're de-evolving. But you know what? We have the internet now, and the internet is going to bring back the oral tradition. The oral tradition of spoken word religion in a way, spoken word philosophy. You know, you read all these books and you become like an awkward nut job because you're not. Sometimes books don't translate to the real world. They just don't. It sounds good. Communism looks great on paper. Everyone's free. Everyone has, whatever. But that's not going to propagate the better humanity. Do you know how many people died in fields just wishing they could have a little bit of education? Now we got it all for free and we want to give it away out of guilt. Give me a break, bro. There's a ratchetness in the universe and there's a trickster. That's why if you look at the ancient religions, you have a trickster god. Like in Norse mythology, you have Loki. Loki's super intellectual and he's a genius, but he's a joker. But you know what? How many people learn lessons because of his jokingness? They have to learn a tough lesson because he's clowning, and they have to go through a crazy missions on defeating his jokingness. But in the path, he makes them learn a thing or two about themselves. So he found out how to leave room for magic, and there's all these archetypes of the brothers, Thor and Loki, and the dad Odin. You have the golden son, the solar hero of Thor, who defeats the monster, and da 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 da. And that's another great thing about the pagan mythology is they're just like us. They're not some perfect being, some perfect thing. We know that doesn't exist because we wouldn't see it. You're talking about miracles in the Bible. Why don't we see them nowadays? Some of the stuff is bullshit. I'm sorry. They fed us a horseshoe of lies, or whatever the fucking term is. They fed us a bunch of lies. They stole it all from older, mostly, European religions. And a lot of times, you would have old European tribes bringing knowledge to other people, and they were friends. But then you read what it says in the textbook. That's why I fucking quit school, because they teach you a bullshit stories a lot of the times, man. Whenever the Vikings came to America, they met the Indians, and the Indians were like using Irish symbolism, which back then, Irish, Celtic world would have been all of Spain, Iberian Peninsula, all the way up to all the way through all of Western Europe, and they basically got eradicated. You can watch a great uh, historical documentary by Dan Carlin on the Celtic Holocaust. And people say like, "Oh, you evil white motherfuckers came to America and destroyed the beautiful Indians." Well, they were already at war with each other, and they already killed all the buffaloes, and they were savagery too. So I don't even want to hear it. All you evil white motherfuckers came here. Well, do you know why? That's because Christianity took over all of Europe and made it a hellhole. Go look at the Middle Ages. Go look at the shit that they were dealing with, bro. Are you fucking kidding me? And I'm going to tell you, Christianity's from the Middle East. It doesn't even have anything to do with Europe. Oh, yeah, they sure as hell took all the fucking symbolism and spun it in their direction, made it look this and that, made it look all loving. But I'm telling you, it's a bunch of shit. But on the same token, Christianity gives us these great morals. There's some great moralism in the whole thing, and there's a sweetness to it, and there is good parts about it. But there's more to all this stuff, and we're gonna have some good scholars working through all these problems and figuring it out. And if we never get the correct history, it doesn't matter because the knowledge is the knowledge. We have um, philosophical breakdowns. We have Plato and Socrates, and then we have the German idealists who had um, great definitions of what spirit is. They'll tell you Hegel's book, The Phenomenology of Spirit. I'm trying to get through the damn thing. It's really a tough read, but I can see that he's talking on another level. He's taken the Eastern and Western uh, traditions and kind of bringing them together. Because a lot of times, if you want to get more spiritual and you're a Christian, you're gonna have to get into the esoteric arts. They tell you that that's dark and evil. They tell you that symbols are evil. Well, symbols correspond to the other part of your brain, the deeper part of your brain. They say a picture says 1,000 words. So you better damn well believe they don't want you learning that, because then all of a sudden you're going to be enlightened and you're not going to have to go to them for shit. So what we're doing and what do they do? What do they do with their power? They fuck little kids. Yeah, that's real impressive. That sounds great. Not. It's terrible, bro. In absolute power corrupts absolutely, and that's what they've taken for themselves. And they're the priest class. How many times do we have to go through this, man? Humanity keeps learning the same lessons over and over again, because whenever they get destroyed, whenever a culture gets destroyed, the culture before that burns all the books, burns all up all the knowledge. Well, that's not going to happen anymore because we got the goddamn internet, and and there is a quickening of time. Of course, it's quicker. Everyone experiences a quickening, because as you get older, time seems to go by quicker. So don't you think the same thing would happen for humanity? You know, and whether or not there was a golden age back in the day, maybe there was, and everything was great and grand. Then it went to the Silver Age, we got worse, and now we're in the Bronze Age, and it's all war and stuff. That's just consciousness kind of exploring. Consciousness is going to explore all possible angles. And I'll tell you right now, and I'm going to quote Michael Tessarian here, and this is going to end it because I'm just rambling. Uh, if you took the paganism out of Christianity, there wouldn't be any religion left. Mob out, Trev out. Peace.